Hello everybody, this is Jazzy. Walter just got his skill tree revamped a considerable amount in the beta as of last Friday, and I've been messing around with the skill tree a little bit, doing some short runs, so I just wanted to talk you briefly through the skill tree and what choices I've been making for it. So I just did a run on Twitch where we did Ruins Rush, Nightmare Werepig, Bee Queen, and Fuel Weaver, and then started up the Cave Rifts on day 27. So the run's going pretty good so far, and I employed a lot of these skills that we're gonna look at in the skill tree. So let's talk about each of the skills, why I chose them, and yeah, what's good about them. So for me, the customizer skills are pretty much essential. If you're playing as Walter, you should be using the Slingshot. That's his biggest asset, in my opinion. And the skills let you customize the Slingshot so you can add grips and bands and frames to do a whole bunch of different stuff, like increase the range of your slingshot, the firing speed, adding secondary shots and effects. So it's pretty important if you're going to be relying on a slingshot. Now the scouting stuff is new. I had a hard time choosing because honestly all these skills are pretty solid. This one is currently unimplemented, but you get skills like, you know, a rope skill lets you craft rope cheaper and faster. There is a Pioneer Hat skill, which increases the this sanity reduction of the Pine Tree Pioneer Hat, so that's pretty nice. I don't use the Pine Tree Pioneer Hat that much, but if I were, yeah, that would be a good skill to pick up. There's a portable campfire skill. Again, don't use it too much, but it seems like it would be very useful, or if you were the kind of player who used campfires more often. For me, the two really important skills on here are Special Treat and Let's Rack and Roll. Special Treat basically lets you create Woby snacks, which are like non-spoiling food that you can use to keep Woby, big Woby, over an extended period of time. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the portable drying rack because the Woby snacks are made from monster jerky. So you pick up monster meat, you hang it on the rack, and then you can turn it straight into Woby snacks. And then the other skill I wanted to pick up from this category was Field Medic. Lets you make a flutter strip from 3 butterfly wings and it heals for 45 HP. That's a pretty damn good healing item. And this also increases the effectiveness of other non-food healing items like Honey Poultice and Healing Salve. So it's a great skill to pick up. All right, let's talk about the ammo choices. You can see the different ammos have been consolidated. So like each of these top 3 skills, they each unlock 2 types of ammo. And the ammo's decent. Like the gunpowder dreadstone rounds, that's, you know, a solid choice if you wanted to make gunpowder. I ended up using just this skill. I knew for sure that I wanted to use moonglass rounds and stingers, mainly because they're so cheap. They're really easy to get a hold of in large amounts, and the AoE effect of these rounds are super useful in certain fights. So I definitely wanted to unlock that one at least. And I use stinger rounds for Fuel Weaver. So the affinity choices are between different rounds that you can make after opening the corresponding rifts. So like if you get this one, then you can make new rounds once you open the cave rifts, and this one's for the lunar rifts. Honestly, haven't looked at the damage comparison between the two, but the pure horror rounds, they basically add a bleed damage effect, and the icky rounds are a slowdown type of ammo. To be honest, I mostly chose this one so that I could also get the Woby Shadow Affinity, which I will talk about in a second. But I also consider this skill really important because it just increases the amount of ammo you're able to produce, like a ridiculous amount. Ammo's already really cheap, but this just makes it so convenient to craft new ammo. And lastly, there's the Woby skills, which I think is the real meat of the skill tree, and it's the most significant thing that they changed recently. So Woby's got some interesting new skills now that you can add to him. This one lets Woby kind of run around like Polly and pick up items for you and put them in her pack. Just nice, you know, saves you a little bit of time. This one lets Woby chop and mine a little bit. It's very cute to watch, but since I only have 5 skills at this point, I'm going to put them into the other ones. This one I consider very essential if you're going to be riding Woby around, because it makes the hunger drain less and it makes her just straight up faster. So I think this skill's pretty important. Also, this one is really interesting. It lets, basically when Walter forages from a berry bush or a banana bush or lichen or most food forageable stuff in the world, Woby will dig up another of that forageable things. This works on mushrooms, it works on a bunch of stuff. So as you're foraging around, Woby will basically duplicate the resources for you. I can't wait to use this skill with the banana bush farm. And then the last 3 Woby skills I think are probably the most important skills on here. So the start off, it's a requirement skill, but it's also useful. It basically gives you a sprint after moving for 3 seconds. It works kind of like Wonky from DST or Wilbur from Don't Starve. You just walk in a certain direction, and then you start sprinting. And then if you stop, you have to start by walking again. And the next skill down gives Woby a dash, which obviously is going to be great for dodging, but then you get to choose an affinity skill, which turns the dash into one of 2 things. If you choose the lunar side, then it makes Woby a little bit faster after the dash. And I believe this is like the fastest mount you can have in the game is Lunar Woby. But if you pick the shadow side, it turns the dash into a short distance teleport. And it seems to work kind of like Wigfrid's dash with the spear. So you can teleport across like 2 tile gaps. You can teleport through the labyrinth. You can teleport through obelisks. You can teleport into those little holes in the ruins. It's incredibly useful. I honestly never considered them adding this kind of mobility feature to Woby, but I think it finally makes Woby a contender next to Beefalo for Walter consideration. Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about time saved in a game, you can think in terms of raw speed. Like, sure, we can get the max speed with Lunar Woby, but if we're mapping out a world, and we come to a corner like this, like, how much speed is it going to take to make up for that amount of time saved? You know what I'm saying? It's just an incredible mobility feature, and I've been having so much fun with it. All right, here's how the foraging skill works. Basically, if you're off of Woby, you harvest something, Woby grabs the same thing up. And it works on, yeah, all this stuff. I don't know if it works on banana trees, but the fact that it works on banana bushes is probably the main reason why I would pick this skill. Yeah, the drying rack skill is pretty self-explanatory. You open it up, you got these 3 slots up here. You can just stick the monster meat right in there, and then wait for it to dry. And the coolest thing about the drying rack is, once they're ready, you don't even have to take them out of the slot. You just open up Woby's inventory, make your stacks. Easy. And don't tell Clay, but you can feed these stacks to a bird. Basically doubles your egg production, and it also preserves eggs in a non-spoiling state. Shh. All right, last thing I want to show you is how I mod my slingshot. So I like to use the thulecite frame in terms of frames. You've got a choice between the scrappy frame and the thulecite frame. It's nice because it adds a secondary attack where you can put a magic round in and it applies magic, that effect, in an area. So for slowing down like an entire group of enemies, it's really useful. And it's been, yeah, it was also essential in fights like Fuel Weaver and Bee Queen, where I was relying on an area of effect attack. It also lets you shoot a little bit farther than you normally would be able to. Like if I wanted to target this bird, I have to walk to it a little bit to shoot at it. But if I use a secondary attack, I can shoot at from all the way back here. So yeah, having the option of like precise aiming plus just holding down attack button makes this a really versatile weapon to use. Oh, I'm putting on the Bee Queen grip. You have a choice late game between either this grip or the Void Wrap. The Void Wrap you can eventually get a higher attack rate with, but you gotta stand still for a long time. So in my experience, just having consistent attack speed is generally better. I don't like feeling like I have to stay still for too long. So this has been my grip in the late game. We use this slingshot band. It increases the range of your slingshot a little bit. It's not really like significant compared to the pig band, but you can possess this one in an ornery chest, and after you do that, then there's a chance of saving ammo or like firing off ammo for free every time you shoot the slingshot. So you're still going to want to make this band at some point. There's the recipe for it. 1 cattail and 1 tentacle spot. So yeah, in order to get this set up, you're going to want to go to the ruins for the slingshot frame, and then you're going to want to kill Bee Queen for the jelly grip. You can also sub out a glommer goop grip. It works too, but eventually you're going to want this one. So I would recommend prioritizing those things early on in a Walter run. But yeah, that's the gist of my experience with the new skill tree right now. It's pretty powerful, to be honest. As far as the question of like Woby versus Beefalo, for me it's a matter of what you prioritize more. because the B-Flow is going to be the safer option. Obviously, you're not going to get bucked off a B-Flow for most damaging attacks, but you lose a lot of early accessible speed, and you also lose some mobility options if you're not riding on Woby. So the choice is up to you, but yeah, I like that Woby is now a pretty serious contender for being Walter's mount. Alright, that's it for now. I'm going to try and put out a recap of the Fuel Weaver run in a little bit, but I wanted to get you this right now just to say, great job, Clay. This skill tree is excellent. I don't play Walter all that much. I think what used to be kind of a mixed bag of skills feels a lot more unified thematically now. A lot of the skills work hand in hand with each other, and they support the lore of this character, I think, in a compelling way. And a fun way. So anyway, that's it for the video. Let me know what you think about the new Walter skill tree, and I'll see you soon. Take care.